First of all, I would like to thank everyone for joining me on my introduction to the TriVortex triliminal systems. It's a brand new technology that is designed to help people with something I call the negative reflexive thought process. An example of that is when we have an instant urge or reflex to the negative. As an example, getting a phone call late at night. And we don't normally get phone calls. Oh my God, who's sick, who's hurt, who's dead? Why couldn't it be good news? Why couldn't it be your daughter-in-law is pregnant or somebody won a lottery? Why couldn't it be something good that we assume? This is an example of a negative reflexive thought process. Here's another example and a working model for you to show you how effective these things are. I, of course, use them every day, at least twice. And those of you who are on at the beginning of this have noticed without any issue at all the stupid things I've done, like disconnecting myself, like screwing up the presentation, like muting myself, all these different things. I could be completely embarrassed and walk away into a cave somewhere and go, I'm sorry, folks, I can't do this. I'm embarrassed. I'm supposed to be a professional. And obviously, I've shown you that I'm not. Instead of feeling any of these things, I kind of think it's funny. And I appreciate all of your patience with me and your goodwill to help me get this going. So all of that is because of the way my brain is processing the information. Instead of being embarrassed, instead of thinking, oh, so much for my air of professionalism. Instead of that, I kind of look at it as a positive because now you see that potentially embarrassing circumstances occurred for me. And did I get flustered? Not at all. Did I laugh? Yes. Was it nervous laughter? Only I know for sure. No, it wasn't nervous laughter at all. I just found it amusing that all this stuff would happen at the last second. And it shows you that your mind can make a choice. That's the real point here. Your mind can make a choice as to how you're going to act or react to any kind of stimulation, any kind of event that occurs to you. Keeping in mind that I made a choice that this wasn't a bad thing. Because I made that choice, it wasn't a bad thing. Actually, look at that. It ends up being a good thing because it gives me a perfect example of why the brain is so important and how wonderful it is in that it can reimagine, reinterpret something from, getting you away from the negative and towards the positive. So again, all these mistakes that occurred, all these problems that occurred just as we were starting don't matter because they actually showed benefits as opposed to negatives. And this is your life in general. Nothing good occurs, nothing bad occurs. Everything takes on a value of positive or negative only because of how you choose to interpret it. And I encourage you to interpret everything as a lesson, as something good. Look, when something is a lesson and it's bad, at least in my life, when it was bad, or I interpreted it as bad, I did a lot of this for 40 years. So I'd close my eyes, I'd turn my head, I'd raise my arms. I would take everything as a negative, everything as punishment. Once I started listening to my recordings and actually smartening up, so I'm not sure one came before the other, but I suddenly started realizing that maybe there's a lesson to be learned here. And instead of doing this, I started doing this. And I started learning. And I started realizing that I literally had the ability, as the headline here says, to unlock the gateway to unbounded wealth, success, and achievement. Keeping in mind that I don't want you closing your mind to the concept of unbounded wealth or success or achievement. Most people, when I say these words, will think right away of cash. They'll think of money, they'll think of diamonds, they'll think of jewels, they'll think of all these kinds of things, but they won't think about relationships. They won't think about their career beyond the money. They won't think about fulfillment. They won't think about these things. I won't say truth because I don't really believe in truth, but my current understanding would say that all of these aspects of life are important. and all of them make a difference. It is necessary to remember one thing and one thing only. You are existing in your own universe. Despite the fact that we're all together now on this call, you are literally in your own universe. And the proof of that is the next time you go for a walk with someone, ask them questions about what they noticed and what they saw and what they heard you say. And you'll notice that the things they noticed on the walk are likely slightly different or even a great deal different than what you noticed. It's not because of anything except that you exist in a different universe than them. I believe my current understanding is that we see each other, so we assume we're in the same universe. Now, when I say the same universe, I mean our perception of where we are and what we're doing and what we're experiencing. Quantum physics, on its most basic level, says nothing exists until it's observed, meaning that your way of observing something is just as legitimate as mine, even though it's unlikely we're observing the same things. It's unlikely we're giving the same weight to the same things, the same level of importance to the same things. I've done this test before where I'm walking down a street with a friend, and then I have another friend ask a series of questions to us independently. And you'd swear we were on different streets, taking different walks with different people. Part of gaining wealth in all respects, part of gaining success in our lives in all respects, our version, our interpretation of us achieving things, all of this is dependent on how we choose to look at things. It's kind of like the five blind people who are touching different parts of an elephant. And because they're only in contact with a small portion of that elephant, they don't know it's an elephant. They think it's something else. They think one thinks it's a telephone pole, another thinks it's, a garbage can, another thinks it's this, another thinks it's that. To them, that's what it is. To us, when we interpret reality or what we think is reality, what our personal reality is, we open up doorways of possibility and we close doorways of possibility as well. So one thing I'd like you to get out of this, if you can, is that you're an independent thinker and your view of the world is unique, just like your fingerprint is. And yes, we all exist in bubbles, and sometimes these bubbles rub up against each other. That's true. But remember that your interpretation of that rubbing, your interpretation of that interaction is not likely to be the same as the person you're rubbing up against, if I can use that term, and this conversation doesn't go totally off kilter. Basically, what I'd like you to understand is that every word that everyone out there is hearing from me right now is being interpreted in terms of the individual who's hearing it, who's listening. So I may be saying specific words with specific intention, but every single person out there is hearing me differently. They're paying more attention or less attention to various words, to nuances, to the emotion in my voice. All of these things are predisposing every single one of you to think, to interpret, to create meaning. And that's the real point here. We all create our own meaning. And that's wonderful because you know what? If you were responsible for giving my life meaning, I'd be screwed because I can't do anything about you. Knowing that I do it myself is the most empowering knowledge I could possibly have because it tells me if I'm doing this and I'm not happy doing this, I can change what I'm doing and thus change how I feel. So that's a rather large and long-winded introduction, but I hope it's helped to get you on a path. One of the things here, yes, this is a webinar, and yes, there will be an offer at the end. There's no question about that. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to, you know, give you little sprinkles and ice cream. But I want you to know that my goal is that every single person walks away from this with actionable items, things that they're now thinking of and can do that will help them to help themselves to have a better, more fulfilled life. I think that feeling good feels good for a reason. Feeling poorly feels good, or sorry, feels good for a reason. Feeling poorly is just as good because feeling good tells me I'm doing and or thinking the right things for me, and feeling poorly tells me that something is off. I'm not thinking and or doing the right thing. So they're just as valuable. They're just as meaningful and they're just as helpful. There's something that I call the red light on the dashboard of your life. And a lot of people ignore when their check engine light comes on in their car. Most people, though, will actually take that red light as a sign that there's a problem and they need to go get it checked out. I want you to feel the same way about your heart, about your life, about your intellect. When that little red light comes on the dashboard of your life, I want you to be able to understand that it's not there to make you feel uncomfortable. It's not there to make you feel bad or to think less of yourself. It's actually there to help you, to make you aware so you can take action and feel better. So, oh, wonderful. Okay, thank you. So, Ellen has a nice comment there. Thank you, Maury. I needed to hear this today. It's a pleasure. I do let come what comes. So hopefully it is, makes sense to people and it's useful and valuable. Michael, this is funny. I'm giving a talk later today titled Redefining Wealth, lots of similar themes. Well, thanks, Michael. The thing is that I think everything's interconnected anyway. At least that's my current understanding. So it wouldn't surprise me at all. And if anybody has any questions or comments, you may have noticed that there's a little sticky note at the top of your chat that says if you have any questions or comments, or you need to clarify something, or even just ask me a question. You don't have to wait till the end of the call for that. I am having a Q&A at the end if there are any questions that are required, but I'm happy to interrupt myself because I don't want to make you sit there and wait. I want to honor you by honoring what you need. Alexandra, I do ignore some of the indicator lights in my car after researching what they mean. Oh, that's cute. Well, if you're going to do it in your car, that's one thing. The most you're going to be out is transportation and money. Don't ignore these lights when they come on in your life, though. That's the whole point. Okay. So, anyway, that's my idea. Literally, we are all on a final countdown. From the day we are born, we are heading towards our maturity. We're heading towards our intellect. We are heading towards whatever comes next. And when I say whatever comes next, I don't necessarily mean when you're 100 and you go to sleep and you don't wake up. I mean whatever comes next in the next second, in the next minute, in the next hour, in the next day, in the next month, in the next year. You'll notice I left out week. I wanted to see if anyone would notice that. But of course, I didn't give you a chance to say anything. But what can I tell you? I am me, and I speak from the heart, and I speak off the top of my head, which explains why I have so little hair, because as I'm speaking, it creates friction and it burns it all away. So I want you to feel a sense of urgency about how the universe can serve you, about how you can serve yourself, because ultimately sitting in the lotus position meditating is nice, but it won't do anything for you. We live in a world of physical reality, at least to this point. Our energy, our essence, our intellect exists in a body, a physical body. Sinew, flesh, blood, nerves, neurons, all these things, bone tissue, all these different things constitute our shell, how we are presented to the world on a physical level. But understand that wealth in all its forms, especially wealth in all its forms. I just realized there's double wealth in there. And there's a reason for that, probably. But wealth in all its forms is your right. That's why we're drawn to it. We're not drawn to it to be greedy so we can have more than our neighbor has. We're drawn to it because it's important for us. We're here for a reason, and it doesn't matter who you are. I want you to remember that. It's interesting how our society gives such credence and such value to certain professions and not to others. But I'd like you to consider something real quick here. Let's say I was an alien life form and I flew in and I took every neurologist and neuroscientist off of the planet Earth. Everybody gone. Who's a neurology expert, who's a neurosurgeon, brain specialist, all of them gone. In a year, a lot of people would suffer. I think we could agree on that. A lot of people would suffer. Many people would die. Now, as this alien life form, I'm going to take everybody I took and I'm going to drop them back off where they were. So now the world's back, has all its neurologists, all its neuroscientists, all its neurosurgeons. This time, I'm going to take all of the custodians. Okay. I'm going to take all the people who collect your garbage, who clean and maintain your sewers, who clean the bathrooms in the malls. Okay. All of these people are now gone. So there's no one there to clean up our mess. Within 6 months, half the planet would likely be dead. Disease would be rampant. So my question to you is this: how is it that we give such value to so-called highly educated people? Let's talk farmers. Let's take the farmers now. How long do you think before everyone's dead without food? Weeks, if we're that lucky. So why is it we give such incredible value to doctors and scientists? And I know I'm kind of bad mouthing myself here, but it's an understanding I have. How come is it we give such value to these people and such little value to the people that really make a massive difference in our world? I think we take too much for granted. And I encourage us all to consider that when we meet new people and when we go shopping and when we go to the grocery store and, when we teach our kids the value of people. Everybody has value. That's really the bottom line here. Everybody has value. And the evidence of that, they're here. As long as you're here, you have value. I want you to, again, the whole idea of the countdown timer is to build a sense of urgency, but understand again, you can get stuff with it, you can help people with it, you can do a lot of good with money. But I want you to remember that wealth is much more than just that. Meeting someone who explains an issue to you, who helps you from a personal perspective, who's just your friend. That's wealth. That's what truly makes life worthwhile. It's the relationships. Money can make life easier, but it doesn't make it worthwhile. If someone is miserable when they're poor, they're likely to be miserable if they come across a lot of money too. If someone's happy when they're poor, they're likely to be happy with money. Money will not buy happiness. It won't even rent it. I think a lot of people are misguided. I have two friends who I've been lifelong friends with. I remember when we were younger, we were in somebody's basement and we were talking, and they explained to me that when they're in their 20s, they're going to have their first million. And that will make them a success and that will make them happy. Well, you know what? They were both right. They both had their first million. They did. They weren't happy. So they thought, well, inflation, right? Because when I was 16, it's, money isn't worth what it was worth back then. Now it's not worth as much. So the buying power is less. So fine. Now I need 2 million. So they got 2 million, still weren't happy. 5 million, still weren't happy. 10 million, still weren't happy. 20 million, still aren't happy. They have killed 40 years of their lives hunting this money that's going to make them happy. And they're still not happy. It's just, we have the ultimate sensor array, our brains, our hearts, our guts. Trust in them. Don't buy into this. I have to have the latest iPhone or the latest Samsung phone. Don't buy into I have to have a Mercedes. I can't have a Chevrolet. Don't buy into any of this garbage because it's simply there to distract you. You don't need to be distracted, though. You have the ultimate sensors, and they will tell you if you're on the right track for you or if you're on the wrong track for you. So please, I encourage you, pay attention. Pay attention. Let's see here. Alexandra, happiness is a choice. It definitely is. Dade, money makes you more of who you are. It gives you the ability. Although, you know what? I can't disagree with anything anybody says here. Money can't buy joy. True wealth is found in community and relationships, health and well-being, purpose and fulfillment. Friends are like flowers in the garden of life. I love all of that. There was a time, I have to tell you, there was a time when I would listen to people and I disagree with what they're saying. So I'd wait for their mouths to stop moving so I could convince them of the error of their ways. Now, because of this universe belief I have, interestingly enough, whatever your story is, whatever your interpretation of the world is, I agree with you. It may not be my interpretation, but because it's yours, getting back to quantum physics again, that's what you're observing. If nothing exists until it's observed, and you observe something, then it exists for you, meaning for you, it's accurate. Meaning, my waiting around to try to convince you you're wrong is a real problem I had. No problem you had. I love being able to experience self-discovery and to realize that to understand that everything I think is nothing more than everything I think. And it could change in a split second. And I absolutely love that. Absolutely love it. So if you're unhappy, it makes you more of that. Exactly. I had someone trying to convince me I was wrong last night on Instagram, and it was so exhausting. Had to just step away. That is freedom. Well, thank you, everybody. Dade, Jennifer, Michael, Ellen. Wonderful statements. I agree with them all because I have the right to have my universe. You have the right to have your universe. And quite frankly, they're nice thoughts. So I can't argue with them at all. At all. If I keep going on these tangents, I am going to totally take this webinar into, I don't know, 15-hour category. So I better speed up a little bit. I hope everybody likes my AI generated images, by the way. I am just in love with them. Totally in love with them. Anyway, TriVortex tunes. This is where I'm introducing you to a little bit of the new technology. I call it immersion into the music of the soul. And it really isn't music, though. But I believe we all create a vibration. And in essence, that's what sound is. If you're on a computer now or even on a phone, put your hands over the speaker. And while I talk, you'll feel vibration. Literally, people don't hear things. Human beings have never heard anything, ever. It's the brain interpreting vibration. That's sound. So the music of the soul is really the vibrations and how they interact with you and how you interpret them. So what TriVortex does is it takes my already effective triliminal technology. And if anyone needs to know what that is, by the way, just write, what are triliminals? You can just even write, what are tris? And that'll be good enough. And I'll give a quick explanation. But it takes my triliminals and it takes them to the next level. I've included a subliminal track that includes over 100 affirmations repeated over and over and over again. I've included what I call a quad track where there's an actual part of the triliminal that's walking around you. It literally walks around you. So while you're listening, you hear me speaking in your left ear, you hear me speaking in your right ear, you hear me speaking in the center, and you also hear me walking around you gently with a positive affirmation to help everything else that's being said get integrated into who you are. The beautiful thing about the TriVortex systems is that despite I'm saying things, I'm not talking anything into you. They're designed with the brainwave entrainment feature to actually allow the listener to reinterpret, reimagine, literally translate or tailor what is being said into something that makes sense for them. So despite the fact you're hearing my voice, you are programming yourself. In essence, you are reprogramming yourself to be all you can be. And all of this happens automatically. You don't have to learn anything. There's nothing to study. There's nothing to test yourself on. There's nothing to read. You can even fall asleep while you're listening and get full results. So let's see here. Michael, I have a lot of thoughts on AI art. My girlfriend is an artist. I think the presentations, they're okay. AI art are a bit soulless, though. Well, you know what, Michael? I can't argue with you because that's how you see them. I put my soul into these. I look at them and I see me when I do that. That being said, my wife is an artist and these have an effect on me that's positive. Her artwork has an effect on me that's positive in a different way. So I have no problem with anybody's interpretation of what AI does or what it doesn't do. Ultimately, it's the human interaction that has value, as far as I'm concerned. You will all make your own minds up as to whether they are or they are not. So let's see here. What are tris? Okay, very quickly, I'll give you an example of what a triliminal is. So a triliminal has a mask, which serves two purposes. So the mask sounds like this. Shh. Two purposes it serves. It's actually an array of 600 different frequencies laid over each other meticulously, one at a time. Again, serves two purposes. The first purpose, it acts as a mask. So external noises that might get in the way of the entrainment process or the training process are masked out. So they do not adversely affect the overall features of the TriVortex system. Then you also hear, well, you don't hear, but embedded within the shh are frequencies that are designed to be resonant with different regions of your brain. What that means is, pardon me, there is a resonance to different neurons, to different locations in the brain. And these hyperactivate those regions so that when they hear the brainwave entrainment tone, which is the next step, remember, all of this is all at the same time. So you're hearing shh, you're hearing the brainwave entrainment tone, bop, 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 bop. That's what a brainwave entrainment tone sounds like. That particular tone is a specific frequency in the theta range that activates a feature in everybody's brain called LTP. That stands for long-term potentiation, or the brain's ability to create a neural pathway, a memory pathway. The reason why that's important is if we get information, I've been at parties before where I was introduced to Sue, and 3 seconds later, I didn't remember Sue's name. That's not a cognitive issue. That was an example of LTP not being active in my brain. LTP is active, memory pathways form. LTP is not active, in one ear, out the other ear. That's simply how it works. So the LTP is created by the brainwave entrainment tone so that the information that is then presented as well, which is affirmations in the left ear, presented for the right hemisphere, in the right ear, presented for the left hemisphere. That's how perception works, by the way. Information in the left side goes to the right side of the hemisphere, and the left hemisphere gets information from the right side. But there's also presentations in the center for both. And in the TriVortex, again, we get that rotating. We get the walking around you as well. That is what a triliminal vortex is, or a TriVortex is. It's all of these features, including a special subliminal track that has 100 different affirmations, positive affirmations, subliminalized within the recording and repeated over and over and over again as well. You put on ordinary stereo headphones or a pair of bone conduction headphones. You lie down, you close your eyes, or you sit back with head support, you close your eyes, and everything happens automatically. So that's what a triliminal is. That's what a TriVortex is. So the triliminal is everything without the subliminal track embedded and without the walking track embedded. Again, the headphones do not need to be special. Bone conduction you can get for 19, $20 now. Ordinary stereo headphones, over-the-ear headphones are all you need to actually do this. Again, $10 to $15 on Amazon or wherever your favorite place is. And that's how it works. So thank you. Cool special earphones. We talked about that. Triliminal is hypnosis. I guess in a manner of speaking, you can call it a highly evolved form of hypnosis, but it's more than that. It's meditation, it's hypnosis, it's brainwave entrainment, it's a whole bunch of features. There's probably about 15 separate technologies embedded in these recordings. So today, you're here for a reason. You may not realize that you're here for a reason. Everybody is everywhere they ever are for a reason. And I encourage all of you to realize this wherever you are. You're walking down a street, you happen to glance at someone or at a building or at a bird or at a flower, at a leaf, at an insect. All of these things are important, I believe, in all of our lives. I do not believe anything happens or we're exposed to any kind of stimulation just randomly. I believe all of it has an effect on us, a profound effect. And the interesting thing is, when I started to pay attention to everything around me, when I started to pay attention to everything that was in my realm of experience, in my realm of literally of experience, I realized the value, the importance. And I started becoming very grateful for the silliest little things. Walking by a carriage and seeing a little baby. Now, I understand it's kind of hard to make me look like a little baby, but you get the idea, right? With that little innocent face, the eyes kind of squeezed closed. Seeing a bird fly by. Why are all these things happening? Why are they coming into my frame of experience? I encourage all of you to feel the same way, to look at meaning behind everything that happens to them, every little itty bitty thing. I believe that you will begin to see a value in everything that happens in your life. Even the so-called things that you might define as bad, I believe you'll stop defining them as bad. Instead, you'll start defining them as valuable. Look at it this way. If I break my leg and it doesn't hurt, I may not go to a doctor. I may not go to a hospital. I may not get it set. Now, I may have all kinds of problems as my leg heals, hopefully, deformed. And now I can't walk properly. So now I'm developing back and neck problems. Now my life is hell on earth because I didn't feel pain. Yes, what I'm saying is even pain is something to be grateful for. Even discomfort is something to be grateful for. Remember, I consider it to be the red light on the dashboard of my life. It's not something to be ignored. It's a warning system designed to keep you from having worse things happening. More discomfort, more of the bad, more of the interpretation of the bad. I encourage you to appreciate everything that comes your way, to find a way to appreciate everything. You're here for a reason in some fashion or another, whether you think of yourself this way or not. I look at you as a visionary. You know you have some control over your destiny. You know that you can manifest anything you need. That's why you're here, because you're searching, you're looking. And as I mentioned before about experience, every single thing that happens in your life, I believe, is happening to teach you something valuable. Having that attitude now moving forward, I believe you will find tons and tons of value. You will understand yourself better. You will be able to guide yourself better and you'll have more satisfaction in your life. I believe that your purpose is to be and to be open to all the knowledge that's being gifted to you, as opposed to just what you choose to have gifted to you. Rags to riches. That's an ancient line. It has a lot to do with a lot of different stories. A lot of romance novels have been based on this. What is the secret? It's interesting to ask this question. So let me just read what's here. Discover the secret that transformed my life from rags to riches. Be inspired and change your own financial destiny and other destinies. And understand that prosperity is so much more than just financial wealth. You see, I've been kind of nagging on you with that a lot during this talk. Learn why this point might just be what is holding you back from true prosperity in all its forms. So, a lot of people in my experience, and myself included, believed prosperity was money. Riches were money. That's all it was, period. I drive around in a rust bucket car. My friend drives around in a Mercedes Benz. Who's successful? Obviously, he is, and I'm not, because I'm driving around in a piece of crap. He's driving around in a very expensive, finely tuned automobile. But is that really the case? Or am I just kind of yelping? Am I driving towards something that I don't really want, but that I've been told that I want? Again, pay attention to what's here. Pay attention to your heart. Pay attention to your gut. Understand that you are the only thing that can tell you what you truly want out of life. And the way we tell this, at least the way I tell it, and I believe everyone could use the same method, you will only know once you do it yourself and see, is to trust your gut and trust your heart and trust your head. And when you come across something that is beautiful for you, that makes you feel nice, that makes your heart sing, that to me is the right direction. And if you do things like waiting in line for the new iPhone, like I used to do, and then feel empty afterwards because, yeah, whatever, it's a bigger phone, it's a little flatter, it's a little faster, who cares? I wasn't listening to my own messaging. I wasn't listening to my instinct. I wasn't listening to my gut. I wasn't listening to my heart. I just wasn't listening. I was getting caught up in fake excitement because that's the point, right? Get other people to fulfill your dreams by screwing them out of theirs, basically. I fight against that every single day now. I'm not interested in convincing you to buy my products. Yes, I will make an offer and you will make a decision based on your needs and your desires. But I'm not here to force you to do anything. Whoever is unmuted, if you can please just put your cursor over and just click. I appreciate it over the microphone. Thank you very much. The bottom line here is the rags to riches story is your story. When you're aware that it's there, that's when you become rich. When you're aware that you already have what you need, that's when you are truly wealthy. I have these glasses in my hand. Okay. These are blue light glasses. My eyes sometimes get dry when I'm staring at my computer for too long. So if I'm sitting here and I put these glasses here because I don't need them right now, and suddenly my eyes get dry and I start thinking to myself, oh boy, what's going on here? Where are my glasses? I can't find them. Where are they? Where are they? I'm looking out here. I'm looking out here. I'm looking out here. I can't find my glasses. They're right here. They're right on me. Okay, just give me a sec, folks. I am just going to mute out whoever is unmuted because they don't realize that they are. Let me see here. Ah, here we are. I found you. There we go. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled program. Okay, so getting back to this whole rags to riches story, we all, I believe, are living that right now. Whether we have wealth, physical wealth, whether we have financial wealth, whether we have health wealth, all of these things are literally unimportant to our essence, to who we are. It all comes down to, do we belong? Do we feel like we belong? Are we at that point in our existence where we understand the true nature of why we're here? How many of you understand why you're here? Put in the chat, please, if you don't mind. Yeah, Y for yes or N for no. Just tell me if you think you understand why you're here. Excellent. I love that. Absolutely love that. A lot of yeses. Now, when I said exactly, Bruce makes a perfect point here. What is defined as here? When I asked you why you're here, Y for yes, N for no. Yes, why am I here in the world, or why am I here today? So no, if it's why am I here today? Yes, if it's why am I here for the world? Okay, good, good. You see, all of you are right. Every single one of you is right because you're speaking from your own terms. But this is an example again of how we all live in different universes. And your view of your universe is different from my view of my universe, but they're equally valuable and they all have a legitimate reason for being. I encourage all of you to realize that because you likely live in your own universe, at least by my definition of that, that means you have all the control in the world. Once I believe, once you understand that you are the one who has the key, you are the one who makes the choice between the left side of this slide and the right side of this slide. You have the power. Just like my glasses, where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Your power isn't taken away from you. You're just not looking in the right spot for it. If I believe that you can take my power, then I will interpret my lack of power being that you took it. If I think you took it, I need you to give it back to me. And if you don't give it back to me, I literally screw myself. I'd like you all to look at yourselves as being the master of your own domain, if I can take that line from Seinfeld. You are the master of your domain. No one takes your power, no one takes your opportunity, no one takes anything from you. You can't even give it to people. But your belief, your observation makes it your reality. Using meditation, using conversation, using brainwave entrainment, you can expand your understanding of your universe so that you never feel disempowered ever again, so that you never feel like there's a problem that you can't tackle. So you can understand that problems really don't exist. They're just challenges, they're learning experiences. And learning experiences are truly, in my view, the best thing any of us can have. The real promise of this, of all of this word salad that I've been giving you throughout this entire talk so far, is that I want you to unlock the treasure trove of your own life. I can only be an expert in my life. I can't be an expert in yours. And I don't believe any of the experts, like any of the gurus, any of the self-help gurus, are really being all that helpful to you unless they include a little blurb at the beginning of their video, at the beginning of their talk, at the beginning of their seminar, at the beginning of their book. It should read something like this. Hi, what you're about to read, what you're about to see, what you're about to hear is my interpretation of my experience with this particular topic of self-help, self-improvement. You had different parents than I had. You had different friends. You went to a different school. You wear different clothes. You might even be a different sex, different religion, different race. You may have even had a different lunch. All of these things make you uniquely unique. So if anything that I speak about in my talk or in my video or in my book resonates with you, and only if it resonates with you, I encourage you to reimagine it, reinterpret it, make it your own before you choose to act on it. Then and only then, I believe, will you have a good opportunity, a likelihood of succeeding based on my inspiration. If you just take everything I say by rote and you try to follow it like a blueprint, it's not going to work because, again, you are not me. Tailor it to fit you, however, and then you stand a much greater chance of it helping you to help yourself. Please understand that. Every single person, including me, needs to let every one of you know that this is the whole point. The whole point is that I can only be an expert in my own life. Oprah Winfrey can only be an expert in her life. Tony Robbins can only be an expert in his life. Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, all these people, brilliant people, nice people, wonderful people, but they don't know you from a salad bowl. Whatever they're saying is only relevant to their own lives. No matter how wealthy they are, no matter how happy they are, no matter how anything they are, it only is relevant to their life. This is why so many of us, I believe, have been searching for so many decades, so long, because no one has bothered to tell us that one little bit of the secret sauce, that you can't follow my advice because I'm not you. But if it resonates with you, you can adapt it, you can tailor it to fit you, and then you'll stand a much better chance. So the promise that I make to you in all of this, and in every word that comes out of my mouth from this point on and has come out of my mouth up until this point, is that I want to help you to keep your promise to yourself. Because ultimately, I can't promise you anything beyond that. You are the guru for yourself, nobody else. It's time to stop the suffering and to understand that you have all the control and all the power. You can overcome any barrier because none of the barriers are real. They're imagined. And you know what? You may agree with me, you may disagree with me, but think about it. If you believe the barriers are imagined, then you can imagine something different. And that can make you feel better. I went through 40 years of depression, 40 years of wanting to be dead, multiple suicide attempts. I would wake up every morning, I would look out my window, cross my fingers, and I would hope that I would see mushroom clouds. That's how miserable I was. It wasn't enough for me just to go. The whole world could go. I couldn't care less. Okay. I had an affirmation, beautiful affirmation, wonderful affirmation. Could have been a Hallmark greeting card. Life is a disease for which there is no cure but death. This is something I repeated to myself probably millions of times over the years. You can overcome anything. The proof for me of that is that you're experiencing it. That's how I know you can overcome it, because there's a lesson to be learned from everything. Nothing is just happening for the hell of it. Nothing is happening to punish you. That is my understanding. With using these kinds of systems, I have been able to convince myself that not only is this my understanding, this is also my reality. If you have non-self-serving thoughts that are holding you back, like I had that were holding me back, it's not a matter of defeating them. It's a matter of understanding them, because it was my misinterpretation of everything that was going on that was hurting me. This is bad. I'm evil. I must have been Hitler in a previous life. That's why I'm suffering. Well, I'm giving into it. I'm giving up to it. But when I realized, well, maybe there's a lesson here. Maybe I need to learn something and I'm just not listening. That's when I started learning. That's when I started gaining understanding. You have every possibility within you. The pain is not pain. The pain is not disruption. The pain is not aggravation. The pain is not stress. It's not anxiety. It's not any of that. It is simply a part of you trying to get you to listen because you're not. At least from my perspective, that's what pain is. It serves me to feel this way because if I believe that I'm not listening and then I start listening, I start learning. And as I learn, it changes how I think. And as I change how I think, the pain goes away. So if you have thoughts like I had, maybe not as dramatic, maybe not as involved, but if you had thoughts or if you have thoughts that hold you back in any way, they don't have to be, like I said, so dramatic. They can be less dramatic. They can be just basic things. I encourage you to look at it from a different perspective. Instead of just touching that one part of the elephant, start feeling around and touching the whole elephant. Get the whole picture so you can get the whole understanding. The barriers to your true destiny, I believe, are imagined. Look around you. There's people who have overcome those barriers before. Why them and not you? It's not because they deserve it. It's not because they're better than you, because no one is better than anybody. Everybody has value, including you. So if it's not these reasons, then it must be something we're doing to ourselves. And that is the most empowering thing in the world because knowing I did it to myself means I know I can change it too. Let's see here. Oh, thank you, Bruce. I appreciate the kind words. Feel like a millennial. Okay, Michael, I think people need to start looking within for answers instead of without. I couldn't agree more. Tap back into our intrinsic wisdom 100%. Love it. What about universal laws? Okay, Bruce is talking about universal laws. I don't believe in laws. I think laws are made by people, not by nature or the universe. Uh, Again, though, if you believe in that, then you're limited by it. So my advice would be if you find you're limited by your beliefs, think that maybe your beliefs are what's limiting you and it's not your reality. Look around you. I had beliefs that money was evil. Everyone who had money was a bad person. I was poor. Is that a big surprise to anybody? I hated money. Money would make you to be a a-hole. So I won't have money. Then I won't be an a-hole. But then I was bitching and complaining, why don't I have money? So, it kind of goes both ways. So let's see here. Michael, when I was deep in it, I had the realization I didn't want to die. I wanted the version of me that wasn't working to die, which propelled my transformation journey. Exactly, Michael. You changed how you were thinking about something. It sounds difficult, but it's not that difficult when we learn to understand why we felt this way in the first place. So, law of vibration, law of this, law of that. Again, laws limit us. When I was a kid, I was taught to respect the law, not to think about the law, not to question the law. I don't believe that we should be questioning the law because I was trained. Don't question the law. So this whole law of attraction thing, the law of gravity, the law of this, the law of that, I believe those are simply terms for one reason only. They're terms designed to disempower you. That's what they're there for. They're there to make you stop thinking. That's why it's law. You want to make people stop thinking, call it the law, because most of us were brought up to respect the law and not to question it. I encourage you, the minute you hear anyone say the law of anything, to start questioning it. Because if they're trying to get you to stop thinking, I want you to think. I don't want you to stop thinking. I want you to start thinking. I want you to continue to think. You are not a hard drive. Your brain is not a hard drive. Your brain is a central processing unit. Stop using it like a hard drive. Stop listening to everybody, including myself, by the way, and just accepting everything everybody says because, oh, I'm hosting a webinar. That must mean I know something. Yeah, right. I'm hosting a webinar because I'm hosting a webinar. It doesn't mean I'm better. It doesn't mean I know anything you don't know. I just want to share. If anything comes out of all of this, I just want you to think. I don't care if you agree with me. You know what? I may not agree with me in an hour. I may get new information, new knowledge. One of the beautiful things about not believing in anything, not believing in fact, not believing in truth, is that I'm always listening. I'm always gathering new information, which changes how I think. I believe that's nature. Currently, my current understanding says that nature always changes. I used to have a full head of hair. I don't anymore. Is that a bad thing? I don't think so. Why would it be a bad thing? It's just a different thing. But when I was younger and I had all that hair, I thought, oh, if I ever go bald, oh no, oh no, oh no. Now I don't care because thankfully I grew up in certain respects. In other respects, not so much. But I trust you get the idea. It's not a matter of truth. It's not a matter of a law. It's a matter of belief. And if the belief serves you, it's good. And if the belief doesn't serve you, for you, move on. Everything's a choice. We can go left into the lightning and the storm. We can go right into the signpost and the sun. It's a choice. Everybody has that choice. And the solution to it all is your mind. It's your brain. Everything is about your brain. There is nothing left to talk about beyond your brain. If you do not experience something, it is because it hasn't been processed by your brain. I could slap myself in the face. I'm going to do that right now. So everybody get ready. Right? My head flies off to the right. It flies back forward. If my brain didn't acknowledge that I was slapped and that my head moved this way and then back, I would not be aware that I slapped myself in the face. My awareness wouldn't be there. It doesn't matter that my field of vision changed. It doesn't matter that I felt the contact. None of that makes any difference. My brain needs to create brainwave activity. That brainwave activity creates chemistry. That chemistry is like a code that lets me interpret everything around me. That's how neurochemistry works. That's how your perception works. It works like your physical perception, not your interpretation of it. That all happens because your brain is processing information. It's not a hard drive. Stop treating yourself like a hard drive where everybody else thinks for you. One of my pet peeves is when people, I don't mind when they bring up a person here and there, but one of my pet peeves is when people bring up, they're always quoting someone, always, not just once in a while, but I'm talking every word out of their mouth is Einstein said this, Joe said that, Susan said this, Joy said that, Oprah said this, Deepak said that. You know, if I want to know what Oprah and Deepak said, I'd ask them or I'd read their book. If I'm speaking with you, I want to know what you think. So if you're inspired by what they said, that's fine. But I still want to hear what you think about it. I don't want you to parrot back. You know, I don't want you to parrot back to me what they said because I'm not talking to them. I don't care. I want to know what you're saying, what you're thinking. I encourage you to process. Use your mind, use your brain. That's why you have it. It's there for a reason. Again, you're not a hard drive. Oh, thanks, Michael. I appreciate it. Sorry you got to go. We are recording this, though. I hope. Maybe. We'll see. If not, I apologize. But at any rate, we will see what we will see. I suspect that I forgot to hit the recording. Anyway, it is what it is. So basically, the solution is your brain, it's your mind. And we really need to learn how to harness that power and to not feel disempowered anymore. The fact that you're here means that you're already halfway there. You're halfway to the solution. And now we're coming near the end of the presentation. So I'm going to go a little bit quicker through it because I'm through most of my preaching is done, so to speak. We're going to talk a little bit about the TriVortex Destiny Whispers. This is a system that really combines magic with science. And understand that, in my view, magic is really nothing more than science that hasn't been explained yet. That's all it is. Miracles, same thing. Everything has an explanation. It's just a matter of finding it. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the triliminals and with the TriVortex Whispers, I'd love to hear feedback when you do try them, because I can tell you, for me, it's a real trip. It's a real trip. And if anybody out there has had any experiences with them, feel free to please, point it out and to mention it here in the chat. But in reality, reality doesn't exist. At least my reality doesn't exist for you. Your interpretation, your view, how you see things is how reality is for you. If you don't like what you're seeing, if you don't feel satisfied, if you don't feel fulfilled, it's easily dealt with. Change the angle that you're looking at it. As an example, this is a mouse. You may not be able to tell that way. Can you tell now that it's a mouse? Maybe, maybe not. Now you can probably tell it's a mouse. It's never changed, but depending on the perspective that you were looking at it from, it may have been more or less recognizable as a mouse. That's how life is too. Just because we look at something and we go, what the hell is that? Doesn't mean we don't actually know what it is. And just because we look at something and we go, oh, this is what it is, doesn't necessarily mean that it really is what it is. If your head, your heart, your gut feel good, there's a pretty good chance you're doing and thinking the right things for you. If not, then maybe not so much. Consistency is a very important part of the TriVortex system. I think it's an important part in anything, quite frankly. But it's like exercise. Imagine you got up this morning and you did, say, 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, and that's it. And next month, same time next month, same day next month, you do it again. And next month again, and next month again. But you don't do anything before then or in between. How much conditioning do you think you're going to experience? Do you think you're going to get in good shape? Yes or no? I know it's a silly question, but I'd love to see what you folks think. So again, you're doing 10 push-ups and 10 sit-ups once a month. Y for yes, it'll help you, or N for no? Of course not. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's right. You're not going to get results. Why? Because you're not being consistent. I encourage you to look at your brain the same way. In a manner of speaking, your brain is a muscle too. And if you use it, it will work better. If you don't use it, it won't work so well. If you exercised even just 10 push-ups and 10 sit-ups, say 3 times a day, every day for 2 or 3 months, do you think that would give you some benefit? Again, Y for yes and for no. So it's not a lot. It's 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups. Yeah, of course, because we're being consistent. Our body learns to expect this. And then the days you don't do it, you're going to feel like, oh, I'm missing out. I'm missing out. This is how our minds work. It loves habit. So if we're listening on a regular basis, if we're walking on a regular basis, if we're doing anything on a regular basis, we're likely to get better at it. We're likely to get more efficient, and we're likely to gain the benefits better as well. So normally at this point in the presentation, I would go through a guided visualization exercise. But instead of doing it this time, because I'm going kind of late here, I kind of let myself go off track a few times to try to help you to get a better understanding of yourself, or actually to get a better way to understand yourself more accurately. Uh, I would just encourage you, and I'll share these slides with anyone who sends me an email, by the way. But I encourage anyone to just practice on their own. Again, with being regular and consistent in doing so. Just take a couple of seconds every day to visualize yourself, how you would look, the expression on your face, being at peace and content, and to see how it will guide you to anything else that you want in your life. Let your imagination go. Manifest a new and prosperous destiny by allowing yourself to just be. Allow yourself to relax. Allow yourself to not be influenced by anything that doesn't serve you. Allow yourself to reinterpret supposed negative things as lessons, thus changing their energy for you to something positive. Allow yourself to simply be, and allow yourself to observe yourself so that you can learn about who you really are and what you truly value and why you do what you do, why you think what you think. Allow yourself to allow yourself to allow yourself. So, do you see what I did there? I told you I wasn't going to guide you on a visualization. I lied. I did it anyway. I was inspired. But the bottom line here is nobody controls you, in my view. You have full control over yourself. And making that realization will allow you to make so many other advances in your life. You won't believe all of that. So we're going to get into the offer now. Okay. So what I'm hoping up until this point is that through our discussion, you are better able to understand your place in the universe, and that you're supposed to be happy and you're supposed to be good and you're supposed to feel great. That's why all these things feel good, because that's what you're supposed to do. It's nature's way of telling you you're doing and or thinking the right things, or you're doing and or thinking the wrong things. And keep in mind, the right and wrong is totally relative to yourself, to your existence, to your universe. What's right for me may not be right for you. What's right for you may not be right for me. It's not important that you follow anything I've said as a blueprint. I encourage you, if any of it resonates with you, to do what I suggested earlier. Reimagine, reinterpret, reinvent. And then when it matches you, when the puzzle piece fits your picture, that's when you decide to take action or not. Because you are your own guru. You are your own expert. Now, I believe that my understanding of the human mind and brain can help you on that journey. And this is where the TriVortex Destiny Whispers collection comes in. I literally want you to set sail. I want you to feel free. I want you to hear what some of the people have thought who've been using these systems already. So I'm going to just read to you, say, maybe 3 of the following. Again, if anyone wants, they can email me afterwards, and I will be happy to send them the slides. Just ask for them. So here we go. For the first few minutes of listening to the new Expand Triliminal, I thought this was just another triliminal with slightly more intense brainwave tones. Plus, I do fairly regularly listen to the Law of Attraction Triliminal, which, by the way, I created because everyone wanted one, not because I believe in it. As I continued to listen, I noticed that Maury was adding new words that I had never heard on this new recording, compared with the original triliminal. Plus, it seemed and felt like the affirmations were also moving into two quadrants in the back of my mind. Then all of a sudden, boom, it was like a light switch turned on in my mind, something that I had never experienced since I was little. I noticed from one particular point in listening that the very definitive shifts were happening, and I was starting to easily focus on what I want in various areas of my life. It felt very and completely lucid, real, and genuine. Wow. Was smiling when I finished this expand triliminal. A big inner smile that also I had only experienced years ago, and it was glowing. When I left my apartment, I noticed that my nervousness and anxiety that used to be in me was replaced by a definitive yet flexible feeling, thought form of happy confidence. And I am visualizing what I want to more vividly and easily. It feels almost automatic. Maury, words cannot express how grateful I am to you for creating this amazing tech. I deeply look forward to and am excited by purchasing whatever you are bringing out in the expand range. Barry in Australia. I'll read these three short ones and then I'll just flash through the others, okay? Because you all kind of get the drift, I suppose. When I listen and after listening, I feel more peace and stillness. I think feeling the peace is the first place, or sorry, the first piece to start healing. I will keep listening and hope that this feeling grows stronger and in the future will be a piece of me. Thank you. Warmest regards, Franz. I listened 2 times for the first time. I think this may work. I felt something happen. Today, I can't wait. Nothing has ever worked. I've tried everything. Rocco. Brilliantly different and new. I've tried everything, and this actually works. As in, I get lost in my thinking, and I stop having thoughts, reaching a Zen-like state, very impressed, and I have been looking for a long time for this. Thank you. If you need any more feedback, I'll be willing as I continue to use it. Please let me know. Okay, and then you can see there's others here. I won't get into them. Let's talk about what's included in the triliminal TriVortex Destiny Whispers modules. So you get a series of recordings. I'm not going to label them all triliminal expand because my tongue will get tied and I won't be able to. But basically, to help you fulfill your destiny, specific topics and areas to work on were kind of discerned as far as what would be the most universal for most people. So for your destiny, you are a winner. Ambition, be daring, achieve goals, resilience, mindset for success, redesign your life, build inner strength, emotion management, persistence, believe in yourself, develop courage. I'm sure you can see how all of these topics, especially when combined together, can turn you into a superhuman being, allowing you the ability to create, literally co-create with all aspects of yourself, the future that you want, to bring that future into the present. Now, you just don't get the new expand technology as well. There's a whole series of fast action bonuses because I want to inspire you. You're here for a reason. You're not here to waste time. You're here because you were inspired to be here. Hopefully, you've already gotten your money's worth, so to speak, just from the discussions that we've had and shared. But there's fast action bonuses for people who may want to purchase and take their lives one step forward. The first benefit and the first bonus is my chakra tuning system. So Dr. Kenneth Hansarosh, a good friend of mine, used to be a client, still is really, but we became friends through being clients. He's one of the top spinal surgeons in New Jersey. And he asked me to create a chakra stimulation system. I told him, Ken, why would I do that? Go on the internet, go on to, YouTube, go anywhere. You'll find hundreds, if not thousands of people giving away chakra tuning system recordings, for this, for that, for whatever. And most of them are free. Why should I do this? Like, just go on and do it. Come on, man. What do you need me to do it for you? And he kind of looked at me and he smiled and he said, because Maury, you're not going to do it like everybody else. And that's why I want you to do it for me. So I created it for him. This is a multi-recording system that could easily sell for $1,000, never mind the $297 value there. It does not use frequencies that are commonly used in other people's work. I'm not taking anything away from the benefits that you may get from these other people. But as Dr. Ken suggested, I don't do anything like anybody else. And that's what gave him the value. So this particular system, because I designed it for a friend, I also decided, you know what? I'm going to give it as a bonus. I'm not going to sell it. So we're offering it as a fast action bonus for the next 30 people who decide to purchase the new system. The second system is called quantum programming. And interestingly enough, Song asked me to come up with an idea for a new bonus that we had never offered before. This was a year or two ago. And he said, "Can you come up with something new and different?" And I said, "Sure, no problem." I had no idea what I was going to do. Didn't have a clue. So to buy time, I said, "Okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to give it some thought, Song. You give it some thought. We're going to have a meeting in a few days and we'll piece it together and we'll figure it out, okay?" Because I felt pressure. I didn't want to feel pressure. I had no idea what I was going to create, but I knew I'd create something. So I said, "Song, let's do that." Literally, as that last word left my mouth, quantum programming entered my brain. At which point I said, "By the way, Song, we don't have to do that meeting. I've already figured out what we're going to do." Quantum programming uses two specific recordings and exercises, not like push ups, but mind exercises that allow people to literally reprogram their minds on a quantum level to whatever they want. And that, again, the value, like we're arbitrarily valuing it at 197. I believe it's worth a hell of a lot more than that. But again, no charge. And the last fast action bonus is the fourth harmonic Schumann resonance. Some of you may be familiar with the Schumann resonance. The Schumann resonance is basically the frequency of the magnetic ionosphere that surrounds the planet Earth. Human beings have more or less evolved under this magnetic frequency for millennia. Now, there's people out there who will say the Schumann resonance is changing, it's this, it's that. That's actually a misnomer. 7.83 hertz is the Schumann resonance, and that is the average planetary value for it. Depending on your elevation, depending on where you are, it goes up, it goes down. The average is 7.83 hertz. This is what we have made this recording as a harmonic of. It's the fourth harmonic. So it's a much faster recording, but it has been related to all kinds of benefits. And when you read the sales letter, you'll get a better idea of that. I don't want to get too into the bonuses beyond the fact that they're amazing. And the sales letter will help you to understand that. So, what I am going to do now is just give me half a second before I continue. Is I want to get this copy. I appreciate your patience with me, folks. And I'm going to put into the chat. Okay. Paste. So I have just put into the chat for those of you that want to check out the sales page, because I didn't think it was fair for me to mention it. There's a link there for anyone who's interested in checking it out. You're welcome to copy it and check it out later if you like, or you can check it out anytime. The window will stay open and you'll still hear my wonderful voice. So basically, what I'm asking you to do is to read the letter, to see if it resonates with you, and if it does, to understand that there's a lot of things we invest in our lives. We invest in watches, we invest in computers, we invest in microphones, we invest in clothes, we invest in ourselves. That's the most important thing to remember. We invest in ourselves. After hearing everything that I'm speaking about and how you feel and why are you here, I encourage you to check this out. The TriVortex Wealth Whispers Destiny Whisper system has been designed with love, with compassion, with desire, that all of you start getting to experience the life of your dreams. I don't believe dreams are there to tease. I believe dreams are there because they're possible. And if you can think along the same terms, that your dreams, your desires are not there to tease you. They're not there to make you feel subservient. They're not there to make you feel substandard, but they're actually there to let you know what's possible for you. Then this is a system that can help you to make that possibility a reality. When I looked at what I would be selling all of this for separately, if I were to sell it separately, it would be over $1,700 today. And I'm not sending you a smokeless ashtray if you order it now, because, when I was a kid on TV, they always had order before midnight tonight and we'll send you a smokeless ashtray, blah, blah, blah. Hopefully, none of you smoke, first of all. So that would be a useless extra bonus. But we feel that $297 with our guarantee, by the way. So use it regularly and consistently. And if you don't find it gives you the benefits that I claim it will, I don't want your money. I want to hear from you. I'd like you to tell me, Maury, in a month or so, get back to me and go, hey, Maury, I've been listening to these every day. Not getting any benefits. Can I please have my money back? It'll be my pleasure. The last thing in the world that I want is for you to give me money for nothing. Literally, I want you to give me the 297 and I want you to feel like you're stealing from me. That's what I want. That's what my intention is. This offer, Song has told me, is guaranteed until midnight tonight Pacific time. It may come again in the future. It may not. I don't know. As most of you know, I have a whole lot of products. So I never really know when one is going to happen, when one may happen. It may happen again next month. It may happen again in years from now. But the link is there. If for whatever reason the link in the chat isn't working for you, all you have to do is type in https :// TriVortex that almost sounds like a song .com /TriVortex -destiny -whispers /. Hopefully the link works for everybody because that is a mouthful. So let's see. Okay. So, love your pictures. Thank you very much. Love that. Peace and contentment. SD would like to know interest, but how do you use them? The usage is easy. You listen to at least one of the recordings every day. You rotate through them. There's full instructions on how to use them in the package that we send you. Basically, you can sit and lie back with your eyes closed, stereo headphones or bone conduction headphones. The recordings last about half an hour, and that's it. No studying, no writing, no note taking, no reading. All you have to do is use them. Everything happens automatically. So, obviously, there is a certain amount of urgency in your life. You're here for a reason. Why are you here? Do you want to change your life? Hopefully, a lot of the information and a lot of this talking and speaking that I've done today has helped you already to change your attitude, to change how you see the world around you, and hopefully how you will react to the world around you so that you start experiencing a better life. If you want to fast track it, if you want to give it that extra push, that's what the TriVortex Destiny Whispers system is all about. Okay, there's some messages here. Okay, pick one and use it for 30 days. No, the best way to use these recordings is to vary them, mix them up. Okay, it doesn't matter the order that you mix them up in, but if there's 12 recordings, listen to one, and then the next day pick from the 11 that are left. If you listen to two, pick from the 9 that are left, and so on and so forth. The order doesn't matter. Just keep rotating through, though. It's kind of like exercising your finger as opposed to exercising your full body. So mixing them up gives the best results. Let's see. So one a day, pick one. No, we already dealt with that. How does it differ from the TriVortex Wealth Whispers? Different topics, different purpose, basically, different recordings. Okay, got it. What about the Schumann resonance? That's a good point. So the bonus recordings can be introduced into the rotation as well. Even though they're called bonus recordings, I have found in my research that the more variety we have, the better results we get. So don't just rotate the vortex recordings, but intermingle in the middle of it all the bonus recordings as well, because the bonus recordings will add value. All of my systems and recordings are what I call synergistically compatible. What that means is that when you listen to one system, you see, I have a lot of systems, and a lot of the people who purchase my systems own 6, 7, or 8 of them. Now you can imagine that's a lot of recordings, and it can be overwhelming. Included in your manuals is a methodology for listening regardless of how many recordings you have, so that you can get the benefits of everything. And basically, it's simply a matter of adding all the recordings to a rotation and then just picking one, picking one, picking one, picking one, picking one until you get all the way through, and then rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. That means you include the fourth harmonic Schumann resonance and other bonuses into your listening routine as well. You can start off with the TriVortex recordings only for, say, the first month, and then start incorporating the bonuses as well. And yes, Jennifer, the recordings are approximately 30 minutes each. What format are they in? Do you need to play them on? Okay, they're MP3 recordings. A lot of people will say that's not high enough quality, but it's actually perfect quality. So they're downloads and they're MP3s, and you can play them on anything. You can play them on a computer, on a phone, on a tablet, anything at all. You know, when I designed this work initially, I had no money. I did not design these, so you have to spend thousands of dollars on equipment. Again, the headphones, 15, $20 at the very most. Spending more money than that, you're kind of throwing your money away. If you already have a pair of ordinary over-the-ear stereo headphones or bone conduction headphones, those are perfectly fine to use. You don't have to worry about a thing. So obviously, we've started the Q&A section. I'm going to put, even though it's in the chat already, I'm going to throw the link in again just so it's easy, so people don't have to scroll. And I want to make sure that all the questions get answered. So just my final statement until I get into full question format here. As you embark on your transformative journey, I want you to stay on your road to your true destiny. Now is the final push in your life, and it's time to seize your moment and invest in your brighter future. Your universe is ready to expand. Are you? That's really the question. So, are there any other questions or comments from anybody in the audience? First of all, I want to thank everybody for sticking around. I mean, wow, that's incredible. You know, we've been at this an hour and a half, and we have pretty much everybody who started with us. So if anybody has any questions or comments, you're welcome to put up your hand or to type it in. If you would like to vocalize your request, feel free to do so. If you want to type it, just type away. There is no such thing as a question that I won't answer, by the way, because I want to honor you. You've spent all this time with me. The least I can do is honor you. I want you to know one thing, however. I will not comment on the products and or services of other folks because I am not an expert in their work, and I don't think it would be fair for me to say or to have an opinion on something I don't know anything about. So, Supreme M says it's a good presentation. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Alexandra, so earbuds that come with Apple products, not good. Excellent, excellent question. Here is why earbuds, whether they're Apple or Bose or any any manufacturer at all, even if they cost you $10,000, they're no good. And here's the reason why. I mentioned earlier in the presentation that we don't hear anything. As a matter of fact, if each of you could put an SD card in your ear, and let's say you had a writing unit in here that you could actually write audio files to the SD card, and everyone had the ability to write on this card my voice, how they heard it. My voice would sound subtly different on each and every recording. That's because, as I mentioned before, sound doesn't actually exist. It's vibration. It comes in, the brain interprets that vibration as what we call sound. So, why is this relevant? It's relevant because I love talking about it. No, I'm kidding. It's relevant because in reality, or at least in our current version of reality, my understanding is that it is not your perception of the sound that creates the entrainment process, the ba 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 ba, okay? Or any of the focus, any of the words, any of the statements, any of the other frequencies or facets that I've included. In this particular system, there's at least 6 to 8 different technologies incorporated within. Earbuds have such a small surface. The amplitude or power of the signal is minute, it's minuscule. Despite the fact that your brain is translating it and it sounds the same to you, it's not your perception of the tones, it's not your perception of my voice, it's not your perception of the mask that has the beneficial effects. It is the vibratory effect that causes all of the benefits. Because the earbuds are so small and the vibratory surface is so small, it doesn't have the ability to give you the full effect. So over-the-ear headphones, much bigger, right? The surface area, much larger. You're going to get a much better result. Now, that being said, if anybody is noticing that this technology is way too powerful for them, you can start off using earbuds because the reduced effectiveness will help you to kind of get your toes wet and then get you used to the water, so to speak. So that's a really good question. Bone conduction better than the other kind? Well, I don't know if they're better, but I like them. I use bone conduction all the time. The one thing about bone conduction headphones is, though, you'll notice it has a band in the back. So that means if you lie down or if you put your head back, it's going to move them away from where they need to be, because they need to be positioned right about here. So what I do when I use them is I set them up, I set the volume, and then I simply rotate them around. Now, I realize this looks really stupid. Okay. But who's going to see you anyway, right? You're going to be lying down, you're going to be sitting in your office up against the chair, whatever. The idea is that you want these things positioned in the right spot. Lying down, they're going to push them forward. It's also going to be uncomfortable to feel it there. So make sure that you rotate them forward. If you're using ordinary over-the-ear stereo headphones, then you don't have to worry because they go at the top of your head and you're not going to be lying on them. Excellent questions, everybody. So let's see here. Okay, I'm just going to scroll up to see if I missed anything here. If there's any other questions or comments, please feel free to either raise your hand if you'd like to vocalize them or type in your question and I'm happy to answer them. Okay, I don't see any more questions. Here we are. Okay.
Hi, Maury.
Yes, Ellen.
You know, this really was divine timing, as everything always is. And your belief system corresponds with mine in so many ways. And I'm
Thank you.
so looking forward to, I am going to be a purchaser of these. And I feel like it is absolutely exactly what the doctor who is me ordered for me at this point in my life. So I just want to thank you for the presentation, your humor and your delivery and everything. And I just have one question I have. I think you said it last night on the call that you created the verbiage for the slides and asked AI to create an image for that verbiage. Was that?
Yes.
Awesome. I paid
Yeah.
attention to each one, and they were completely in alignment with the, the visual matching up, so that's
Well, you know, our minds are the most important aspect of AI. And
mhm,
that's what a lot of people don't realize. And that's part of what my system does. It helps to optimize your mind so that your life can be optimized, right?
mhm,
That's the whole point really of what I do.
yeah.
My mind was the farthest thing from optimized, which made me the perfect subject, right? The perfect test subject for this
Right,
kind of work. Yeah.
yeah. So, thank
Well,
you so
thank
much.
you. Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. One thing I want to point out to anyone also, this is kind of an unannounced bonus that I'm going to give here. And all of you kind of inspired it. This last question kind of just put it into stone. I'm not a coach. I want to make sure everyone knows that I'm not a coach. But that being said, anybody who does purchase today, I will give 1 hour of my time to. So at no charge. And you can talk about anything you want. Don't take the time to ask about the system, though. I'm here to do that for you anyway. There's no charge for anyone for that. But if you have questions, if you just want a nice ear to listen, or if you want to if you want to hear some feedback from someone who isn't your wife or isn't your husband or isn't your kid or isn't your doctor or isn't your psychiatrist, anything like that at all, I'm happy to give you 1 hour of my time. All you have to do is email me. My email's in the sticky note at the top, and you'll be able to email me and say, "Hey, Maury, I was on your call. I purchased. I'd like to set up a meeting. I'll send you my calendar link, and you can set up an hour." I'm happy to donate that. I just want to help people to help themselves. Really, that's what my motivation is. That's what I'm here for. So there you are, little unannounced bonus. What's that worth? You'll tell me after the 1 hour. I can't really put a value on that. For some of you, it might be 10 cents. For others, it might be $100,000. Who knows? Uh, but I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to be there for you. Because look, let's face it, you all stuck around for me. Least I can do is be there for you too. And what else? What else? Are there any other questions? Oh, thanks, Bruce. Okay. Are there any other questions? I will do a countdown. This is something I do. I do a countdown from 10 to give people a chance to type if they are still interested in asking any questions. And if there are no more questions at the end of the countdown, we will say our goodbyes and thank you all for your time. So I hope that through all of my yakking, I've given you some useful tidbits. Really, I hope I've inspired you to think and use your own brain, your own mind. I truly want you all to be happy because I think we're all connected and I'm basically a selfish person. And if you're happy and we're connected, that means I'm going to be just a little bit happier too. Think of others like you think of yourself. Understand that they have value just like you do, and understand that you have value just like they do. Be yourself, trust yourself. You have a heart, you have a gut, you have a brain, and all of them have neurons or brain cells. There's a reason for that. Nothing is just there because it's just there. Everything is there for a reason, and that reason is always positive. Please understand that every word I have said is from my perspective. If any of it has resonated with you, reinterpret it, reimagine it, make it your own if you're going to choose to act on it. Then you stand the best chance of success. All of your energy, believe it or not, even over a digital format like this, has been reaching out to me and giving me energy to go on and on and on. So if I'm going too long, it's your fault. Nah, 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 nah. I really do appreciate all of you. And I'm sorry if you've had to put up with my sense of humor. It is, I do what I do. I say what I say because I'm inspired to. I'm very childlike in that way. And I hope it's been valuable for at least some of you. We're getting near the end now. So if you have anything left you'd like to ask or comment on, please be sure to put it into the chat so I can check it out when I'm done counting down from 10. If any of you have had half as much fun and gotten half as much out of this as I have, then I've succeeded in what I set out to do. Thank you. What else can I say? Thank you so much. And now let's see. Okay, I guess there's no more questions. I want to thank everybody so much for being here.